You are tuned into Vibration Frequency. That's vibrationfrequency.com. Follow, like, and share at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Vibration Frequency. Feel the vibe.
Welcome back to Kimya's House of Stars. You are tuned in to our wonderful Women's Day show where I am showcasing two very talented women who decided to go into entrepreneurship for themselves. Joining me now is Leah. Leah was born right here and raised in LA, but Wrapped in Meditation, which is her brand, was created when she lived in the Bay Area. She learned about the holistic healing behind crystals, and it became her passion. That paired with her love for design, you get Wrapped in Meditation. Leah, welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit more, like delve in a little bit more about your brand name, Wrapped in Meditation.
Okay, so I started my business with a former friend, and we were supposed to go into it together, but she didn't necessarily have the experience that I did with jewelry, and she branched off and ended up doing her own brand.
Okay.
So the original name was Code Word, and it was a really long acronym, and it was cool, but I kind of forgot it. But I wanted to change it into my own thing, so I kind of like brainstormed one day while I was vending, and I came up with the name after asking somebody else what they thought about it, and they were like, I don't really like that. And so I think I was calling it Leah's Meditation. And she's like, no, I don't think you should tell people that that's like what you're doing. So you should change it to something a little bit more general. And it just kind of came to me because my medium that I use is wire wrapping. So I thought that would be like kind of a cool play on words.
Very clever, very clever.
Thank you.
How long have you been in business now?
I think it's been about 4 or 5 years. I kind of lose track of time sometimes, but it's I believe I started in 2012, but I think the first time I vended was 2013. So that would be about 6 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
Thank you.
So, you talked about, or you mentioned that the crystals have healing properties in them.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so it's kind of like the basic idea of color therapy. Every color has a different frequency to it. So every crystal has a different color and also a different chemical composition and just a different energy to it.
Wow.
So the easiest way to kind of keep track of what it does is by the color, and that aligns with a chakra, which is a energy center. It's a Sanskrit word, and it actually means wheel. So these are the ideas that these are different energy centers in the body, and they're spinning wheels of energy. And we have 7 major chakras, but there are also other ones like minor chakras, and these are also known as meridian points. So they're just energy centers, and each crystal aligns with one or more of those different energy centers.
So how did you begin to take an interest in this? Like, did somebody share this with you and it just kind of stuck?
So it kind of was like a progression. I lived my life as a child just very like sad and depressed and just like had a very negative outlook on my life. And I got into my 20s. I went to college in the Bay Area. That's why I lived there. And I really got tired of feeling that way. I was like, I'm becoming an adult. I don't want to take this into my adult life. Let's do something different.
Right.
And the person that I mentioned at first, who I was supposed to go into business with, shared a documentary with me called The Secret. And it's pretty much, if you don't know, it's about the law of attraction.
Right.
What you think about is what you attract. And we started just getting into that kind of information. You start looking for information about positive things, like more of that kind of stuff kind of will just come to you. Like, when you're on YouTube or Google, you're searching for stuff, it kind of, the algorithm like knows what you're like, how to cater to you and your search needs. So I was on YouTube and we were finding like all these different things about, law of attraction, and then chakras and energy and crystals and stuff like that came up. So that's kind of how it happened. Like, just the internet, like kind of being smart, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I love the way that you knew that you were not in a good space and you wanted to change that and you found something to help you do that. Like that's very, very important because one thing we don't take much mindset to or we don't think of often is our own personal health and mental health for that matter. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Now there's this gorgeous necklace that you have with a blue crystal on it. Like what was the inspiration behind that piece?
Okay, so that crystal is called kyanite, and it's one of the ones that I started working with in the beginning stages of it, and people really liked it. Like I would do Venice Beach, and people would really like it. One of the things I liked about it was that it can help to protect you from like EMFs, which are like low frequency waves from electronics and Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So that's one of the things I liked about it. And then it also represents communication as well as a balance between, your yin and your yang, or your masculine and your feminine, or like just pretty much the duality that is within everything. So that's one of the things that I liked about it a lot, kyanite.
Awesome. And you chose a very, very interesting niche to pursue. And then you turned it into like jewelry design, but you also have these wall hangings. You have this one wall hanging where you have multiple crystals on it. Is there like certain crystals that you pair together on purpose? Like, tell me about that.
Yes. So on that wall hanging, each crystal represents one of those 7 chakras. So it's pretty much something that people who want to align their chakras can use in their meditative practice. And if they just want to like work on all of them simultaneously, then that's a really great choice.
Wow.
But I first started doing pieces like that without them hanging off, just with them like wrapped onto the branch. And I like to kind of play around with eucalyptus branches, particularly. And yeah, that's kind of how I do with those.
Wow. So you also have this belly chain and some rings. What material did you use to design those?
The waist beads, those are beads. Those are genuine crystal beads. Kind of the same 7 chakra progression. And the rings, I use different types of wire. I mostly use copper, but I'll work with sterling silver, gold filled, and solid gold. And back to the blue necklace, that was the first solid gold offering that I put on my website. So that was big.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
Does copper represent anything in?
Yeah, so copper energetically can represent the heart space, opening up to love, self-love, compassion for others, relationships, all that stuff. But physically, one of the reasons I work with copper, aside from it being a very accessible and affordable material, is because it's 99% pure copper, so there's no nickel or anything like that.
Nice.
And in addition, it can help people who have numbness, tingling, carpal tunnel, arthritis. If you pull a muscle, copper can help to ease that pain.
Wow.
So yeah.
That is amazing. So you've been in this business almost 4 years or so. As a woman in business, what are some of the things that you would like to see done different or change?
I've noticed as a woman in business, I do a lot of vending and events, and I used to do a lot more. And one of the things that I would like to see change is respect. I don't really have this issue from women too much. Sometimes I do, but I feel like a lot of the times I'll have my partner with me and he's a male, and a lot of the time when men come up, they assume that he did the wire work because I don't really know why. And I find sometimes that some men are intimidated by the fact that I know how to use tools and do that kind of stuff. But I would just like to see more of a mutual respect between men and the women who they're approaching, the booth. Like, I'm a woman, so I would like to feel safe and not like judged or anything like that from males.
I think that sometimes it comes back from the mindset that women are best in the kitchen. So I think there's some, males that are out there still kind of have that chauvinistic attitude that they feel like we're just helpless little, damsels in distress that always need to be rescued. That's why we are doing this today. It's all about the women empowerment, to let you guys know. We are very talented, we are very smart, and we are very skilled. What would you say was the worst advice anyone ever gave you?
Stick to a job, get a high paying job, and depend on that to fund my life.
Wow, someone actually told you that?
Yeah, one of my parents actually both my parents gave me that advice. They didn't necessarily believe in what I wanted to do. And they always had something negative to say. Maybe, part of it comes from not understanding because of that generational gap.
Right.
But they didn't necessarily see where I could take this. So that's kind of the worst advice that I got. Just stick to the corporate,
Right.
Yeah.
So how do they feel about it now?
I'm sure they're proud.
Good. So they support you now. You get a lot of support from your family and friends.
Mostly my friends. My family is still very weird about it, but I've always been the type of a very independent spirit. So even if people around me don't necessarily support me, I'm really a self-starter.
Exactly.
So I kind of just carried that with me.
You know what I've noticed? I think most entrepreneurs are like that. Most people that actually delve into that industry and explore it, they are those type of people, the type of people that really don't sit back and let somebody just tell them what to do. They may, get your advice. And they'll let you speak. They're still going to go do what they want to do.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So what is the message that you want people to take away when doing business with you or choosing your brand?
Okay, well, there's a couple. I want to empower people, first of all, to if you have a passion and you want to do something, and if 9 to 5 is not for you, and you have something that you want to do, pursue it. Even if you have to do it as a side hustle at first to figure out what to do, just start.
Right.
I also want people to have a great experience with me as far as customer service. That's very, very important to me, building those relationships with customers, potential clients, networking, that. Also, I want people to know that you don't need a healer or anything like that. I mean, yeah, one of my titles is healer, but that's really for me. I'm a healer of myself, and I want people to know that you can do it too. If I can do it, you can do it. Right. You can heal yourself, and that's pretty much the message behind my brand. Yes, I'm here to help you on your path to self-healing, but at the end of the day, only you can heal yourself. So
Exactly.
That's what I want.
That is awesome. So let's say someone called you up and they wanted you to do a custom piece. Do you do custom pieces as well?
Absolutely, yes.
Awesome. So tell us how would we get in touch with you if someone wanted to contact you and probably get one of your pieces or get something custom made? Okay,
so there's a few ways. You can go on my Instagram, which is Wrapped in Meditation, and you can send me a DM. Also, you can email me on the email tab, or you can go to my website, wrappedinmeditation.com, and you can email me, or you can click the menu, which is the 3 little bars on the right-hand side, and there will be a menu option. It's a really long menu, I'm sorry, but it's a menu option that says custom orders. You can fill out the form, and then I'm gonna send you a $5 invoice just to make sure you're serious and not wasting time.
Right.
And then we can go from there.
So have you found that? Have you been doing this and someone asked for a piece and never got it, or?
Some people flake, but I don't start orders unless I get some type of money.
Right.
I've done that in the past. I've done a custom ring in silver, and silver is a lot more expensive than copper. But luckily I was able to resell it.
Right.
But yeah, I've learned that, we just make sure, I got to make sure you're serious.
Exactly.
And I also make sure, I ask, what's your budget? And when do you need to buy? And are you ready today?
Right.
So we're not just doing the runaround and doing a bunch of talking.
Exactly. So let's say someone called up and they wanted a custom piece made, but they wanted it for a specific property, you would do that for them as well?
Yeah, absolutely. They could tell me a little bit about their situation or what they want to do or achieve, and we could go from there.
So give me an example of what that would look like. So someone would call up and just kind of walk me through that process, like what it would look like.
Okay, so a lot of my customers already kind of know what they want. They're like, I need this stone done this way. But some people are like, well, I just went through a bad breakup, or I'm grieving a loss, or I want to get a promotion, or, I'm dealing with some anxiety. And then I've been studying the stones for like 5-6 years, as long as since before I've even been in business. So maybe about 7 years I've been studying them. And so I have a pretty good wealth of information.
Right.
And I also do some research as well. Like if I don't really know, like, or if they don't want the typical stuff that I have, and they want like a new stone that I haven't really worked with or shown before, then I'm always like, a custom order is a very collaborative process. So I want to like make sure that they're very, very involved in, because it's very personal, so I want to make sure that it fits the person.
Right. So when let's say you're making a necklace, about how long does it take to wrap the wiring around the stones and things like that?
It really depends on what they want. Like sometimes, like a rough stone could be easier to wrap than a smooth stone. It depends on the size, the type of wires. But it typically doesn't take me more than a day to make something. But then sometimes a lot of the orders will take a long time because of sourcing the materials.
Right.
So sometimes I'll have to order. Sometimes I'll have to order from overseas, rarely. But it just depends on the accessibilities to the supplies.
What would be some advice that you would give someone that decided that they wanted to walk into your shoes? They want to, branch into doing something similar to what you're doing. Maybe not exactly what you're doing, but messing with the stones and the jewelry and things like that. What would you tell them?
I would tell them to definitely study a lot, like really be serious about it, because when you're talking about like energy healing, you don't want to take that lightly. So do it for the right reasons. Don't do it for like monetary gain. If you want to do something for monetary gain, do like insurance or something.
Right.
I would also say to really value your customer, because without a customer, you don't have anything. So make sure you have a customer. I will also say, build your social media presence and really just invest in your brand. Don't spend your money on BS, don't do things that are unnecessary. If you really want to do this, be serious and be committed.
Right. So you mentioned social media. Like with everything, this is such a me right now, quick generation. How do you make sure that you stay relevant and make sure that your stuff stays out there in the eyes and ears of everybody?
That's a great question. At first, I used to be like really, really diligent and like almost obsessive about posting on social media every day and all this kind of stuff. But now it's like when you're building a following, you should definitely like, at least, especially starting from scratch, really really be diligent like that. But once you get kind of a following that you're comfortable with, don't get comfortable, but don't be so hard on yourself to like, don't strain yourself to post, because it's only social media, it's likes, Exactly. Sometimes they will translate into sales, but I will also say put your, don't put all your eggs in that basket, So, have an email list, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. We are talking with Leah right now. She is with Wrapped in Meditation. We are going to take a brief break, and we will be coming back with both of the ladies. We have some more questions, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.